Thank you guys for purchasing the Dome Saver sliders. Today we're going to walk over everything that comes with them and how to put them in your Revel. So starting at the top here, we have our two aluminum frames, one big one, one small one, and then corresponding you'll have two bamboo doors that are the bigger ones and two that are smaller ones. So moving on from there, you'll get 4 pieces of track, 2 small track, 2 big track. You'll have 2 big pieces of VHB and then 2 little guys. You'll have your felt strips. That's for your tracks. We're going to use some clamps to put the frames on and get them all lined up exactly where we want. Then we got our drill here. We have the nuts and the hardware to bolt it together, a socket, our Allen key, a couple more felt pads to go in between the doors, a knife, so a Sharpie, and a plastic tool there for putting the felt in, and a punch. So those are just some of the basics of what you're going to need, and we'll get into depth of how to put this in. First thing, we're going to cut up our VHB. We're going to cut both of these pieces into quarters. You can use a scissor or a razor blade here, and this doesn't have to be exact. VHB is really strong. So there, I got 4 pieces there. We can flip our tracks upside down, make sure the backs are nice and clean, and we can stick these on. So I like to kind of just put these guys evenly spaced. There's, you know, no exact right or wrong here, but something to the effect of this will work just fine. You could cut them up into smaller pieces if you want them throughout a little more, but this is kind of what we found works for us. So let's just peel off the backs. Now that we have all the VHB on the back of our tracks, turn our attention to the felt. So in your kit, you're going to have 2 short pieces and 2 long pieces corresponding to the tracks. And one big note here, if you got the laminate option, you're not going to use felt at all. These doors already have plenty of tension. The reason is they're just a little thicker than the natural bamboo. So just ignore this felt, you can throw it away or use it in another project. But let me show you how to put on the felt onto the tracks here. We did make a much more detailed video that we're going to link below or up in the corner, and you can find that on our website as well. I think it's 5 minutes long of how to put this felt in. It can be a little tricky. You really just need to take your time and follow the instructions, and it should be no problem. But we'll just give you a brief overview here. So first thing we do is we just pull the felt off the backing, and then I like to grab it at either end. This is our plastic pry tool. You're going to see us use that a bunch. So I kind of grab it in the middle and just center it over the tracks and lay it down. So that's on there now. I like to take my fingers and on the center rib, find the center rib and just pinch the top of that. The biggest thing we're trying to do here is just avoid getting wrinkles. Once you have that, really the whole goal here is we're going to use this tool to push the felt down into these channels. So I can show you on the deeper one here. Basically, we're going to push it down the inside, across the bottom, and up the other side. And we'll do the same here. We're going to go down this side, across the flat, and up the other side. And what that's going to do is really allow the door to slide in this track nicely. If you get this wrong, it's going to make your doors really tight and hard to slide. So let's go ahead and do it. All right, one major note with the tracks, they are different. So the top one, these grooves, or the tracks, are going to be deeper than the bottom one. So let me show you. This is going to be the top and this is going to be the bottom. Try to hold those still for the camera there. You don't want to get this wrong. If you put the shallow one on the top, the wood is not going to have enough travel to get up and sit into the track. So make sure the top one's the deeper one and the bottom one is the shallow one. So with the magic of editing, let's pretend we have all the felt on our tracks. We're gonna flip them over and peel off the VHB. Sometimes if you don't have sharp fingernails, it can be a little tough. You can get a razor blade under there to peel those off. And they're staticky. Put those aside. So the side that has the long flange, this side, that's gonna face back. So you're gonna want it as tight as you can get it to the front, to the front of the face of the cabinet. So we're gonna put this, drop this down in here, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You can see they're shorter than the frame. So just kind of center it up the best you can, and you can just let it fall down in there. And then we just give it a press, and that's it. That thing's not gonna go anywhere once that VHB bonds to it. All right, now we're inside the van. So quick little preface here. Obviously we've already stalled one on this cabinet and done some modifications. So this is the factory door. These are the factory hinges. So each one of these hinges has 4 just sheet metal screws in them. So you simply just zap all those guys out. The passenger side has just 2 hinges. So just take all those screws out, really simple. There's a little catch for the factory latch here. You can let that on, but we just took it out. Again, it's just 2 sheet metal screws that just zip right out. So that's all there is to that. We can get rid of these guys. The nice part is you can put it back to factory if you ever wanted to do that. You just put all those back in the reverse order. So now we'll grab our slider frame, and this guy, the open end goes towards the back of the van and the closed end goes towards the front. And we can kind of just put this up here, and helps to have a partner here, but I have my clamps and I can just clamp on the edges like that. And now your hands are free. Any kind of clamps really can work, but these little spring-loaded guys we found work really well. So the point of clamping this up here is that we're gonna drill the holes next, and now you can shimmy the frame around slightly so you can get it exactly level with the bottom and level with the side. So once you have that done, come in with your Sharpie and mark the holes. So we'll just mark that guy. There's one down here. We'll mark that, and we'll mark our top hole. And there's one more here. So in total, there's 4 holes that we need to mark. Once those are marked, we're gonna pull the frame back off. Now that we have our holes marked, if you never used one of these center punches, they're really nice. Basically, you just go to your mark, get that exactly on, and then push in, and you're gonna hear a little click. That's gonna leave a little indentation. So basically, when you come in with your drill's not gonna wander. So like I said, we already have these all drilled out, but we'll pretend we're gonna drill them out. So we drill our holes out, and now we're gonna go get the frame and get ready to bolt it on. Preparing to put the frame in the van, we have a couple more quick steps to prep. So these little felt pads here, we're gonna put these right on the end of the door, of the inside door. Basically, this door is gonna ride on those, and it's just gonna make it real nice and quiet so you won't have any rattling. So those are pretty easy, just stick them on. Now we have the frame here, we're gonna flip this over, and an important step here is you can see where all the holes are. There's no holes up in this upper corner where the frame's open, and the reason for that is in the van there's kind of a channel that you can't put a screw into or a bolt. So we've included one little about 1-inch piece of VHB, and we're gonna stick that right up in this corner, and that's gonna hold down that corner for us once we get it in the van. So now that we have that done, we can flip this back over. We can slide our doors in. Very important that we slide our doors in before we bolt them up. So put them in the track here. Slide that in. You can see where the felt is there. Kind of just help it over. And now we can close them on each other. That way we have access to all the bolt holes once we get in the van. So let's head in and get this installed. Okay, we're back in the van now. I just took off the backing to the VHB. We're gonna place this guy up. If you have a second pair of hands, it's really nice, but for this video install, I'm gonna do it by myself. What I'm gonna do is line up the holes first before I let this frame down, because that VHB is gonna wanna try to stick. So now I can see my holes are lined up. I'm gonna grab my clamps quick here so I don't have to totally hold this whole frame. Clamp that into place. And I can see my holes are still lined up. So now I can kind of have my hands free and we can get all these bolts started. All right, now that we got all of our bolts started, I'm just gonna come back in, the Allen key on the front side and ratchet on the back, and just tighten these guys down. They are nylocks, so once they're tight, they're not gonna go anywhere. You don't gotta worry about them rattling loose. Once you get all the nuts tight, you can simply slide your doors closed, and that's a wrap. The one thing, make sure you do is come up in this corner and give that VHB a good push down, and that'll stick for you. But other than that, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Our support team's always available. Thanks for watching this one. See ya.